Hello everyone, this is Carla and welcome back to the studio, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursdays are where I use my retired stash. So for this Thursday, I will be featuring, I can talk, the Friendship Royalty stamp set. This is a $1 Million Achiever stamp set. This was designed by Kelly Atchison. And what's really awesome, I did get the opportunity to meet her back in March when we had our on stage in Houston. So the two cards that I'm going to make are pretty simple cards that if you want to make a bunch of them, you would be able to do it in no time. So to get started, let me bring in all of my cardstock pieces, which are sitting right over here. So I have a piece of fresh Freesia. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of Pool Party. This measures 4 3/4 by 1.5. And then I have a scrap of basic white cardstock. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And I'll set that aside. And then for these two pieces, I'm going to be bringing in some other product as well. So for the Pool Party piece, I'm going to be using the Cheery Patterns embossing folders, and I'm going to use this wavy pattern right here. So I'm going to emboss that. And then for my basic white piece, what I'm going to do is these are the nested essentials dies. These are currently available in either our current annual caddy or they're in the online exclusives. One of the two, but at the timing of filming this video, these are currently available. So I am going to die cut with this die here 3 out of this piece of basic white. So with that, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in my pieces here. So I'm going to start off with taking this piece of Pool Party, and I'm going to adhere this to my card base. Come on, adhesive, work. Okay, I'm going to add that centered from the top and bottom and over a little bit from the left hand side. Okay, then these 3 pieces from the Nested Essentials, I'm going to bring these in and I'm going to do a bit of stamping on this. So I have one of the stamps has a smaller crown. And then I have one that has the greeting that says, "You were born to be fabulous, not perfect." There is also a star with a wand. And then there's this little swirly image here that's got these little dots and stars in it. And the colors of ink that I am using are Lemon Lolly, Pool Party, Fresh Freesia, and Bubble Bath. So I'm going to start off with the Bubble Bath, And on one of these, I'm going to stamp the crown. Now the crown is bigger than the die, so it will overlap a bit. So I'm just going to concentrate on kind of getting it centered like so. Okay. And then I'll set that aside. And then on one of these other ones here, I'm going to bring in the fresh Freesia ink, and I'm going to stamp my greeting. And the greeting is just going to fit on this piece. Okay, make sure it's kind of centered. And stamp it down. Okay, we'll set that aside. And then for our last piece, I'm going to bring in the lemon lolly and our clusters of our stardust and stars. I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp this right here. Like so. And then I'm going to bring in my pool party. And I'm going to stamp my star right up in this corner. And then for the wand, I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp that right there. Like so. Okay, so now let's go ahead and assemble our card. So on these pieces, I am going to add dimensionals on the back of these. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, so for these pieces, I'm going to do my top and bottom pieces first, so then that way I can center the center one. So for the one with the stardust and the wand, I'm going to take this one, and as long as my card base will stay straight, I'm going to add this one about here. And then the one with the crown. This one will go up here. Now I'm not going to press this down too hard because I may have to move it so it lines up along the edge after I place this middle one down. Okay. Because I do want some of that embossed pool party to show. Okay, and then this one will move over just a tiny bit. The card base wants to keep on shifting on me. Okay. Well, move that down just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to press that down. And then I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella. because you do need some sparkle on this. And I'm going to add some on these rhinestone pieces on my crown up on top here. Okay, I think I got it all. Alright, and then down here on the star, I'll add some. Put some on the wand as well. Okay, and then of course we need to add more bling because, you know, this is a crown, right? So I have my rhinestone basic jewels, and I'm going to take 3 of these larger ones, and I'm going to add them right here on this side, like so. Okay, let me get this out of the way and move stuff. Okay, so there is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so for my second card, I'm going to be doing a little bit of heat embossing as well. So to start off, I have a piece of basic white thick. This measures 8.5 by 5.5 and scored it at 4.25. I have a 5 by 3 3/4 inch piece of bubble bath, a 4 by 2 piece of basic white, and I have a piece of, this is the Dazzling specialty paper. Now this is the one that was offered as a celebration offering a few years ago. And then last year in our annual catalog, we had one very, very similar to this. Actually, it's the same, and it came in this color and gold. And I think that was so dazzling, or I don't know. It's very the more dazzled paper. So this piece is 4.25 by 1.25, and then I have a scrap of basic white. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. Okay. And I will set this aside. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in some more product here. This piece, I'm going to set that aside too because we don't need to do anything to that. So for my bubble bath piece, I am going to emboss that, and I'm going to be using the So Swirly embossing folder. Now you can see this is a really large embossing folder. This is pretty much the size of one of our, well, of the base plate to the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And this is a regular embossing folder. It's not a 3D. So I'm going to take my bubble bath and I'll emboss with that. And again, I'm doing all my embossing and everything at the same time. Then on these two pieces here, I am going to, I'm going to stamp on these, and then I'm going to be bringing in some embossing powder. So for these, I'm going to bring in the larger crown stamp, and then the greeting that I'm going to use is going to say, "Thanks for fixing my crown." So this one, I'm actually going to emboss this in silver and then the greeting in gold. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink, and on this circle, well, actually, no, before I start, I kind of forgot to do this before. Don't want to forget this time. I'm going to bring in the embossing buddy. This takes away any static or any oils that may come off of your fingers onto the cardstock. And this is going to prevent any loose powders from sticking where we don't want it to stick. Okay, so let me put that away. Okay, and now I'm going to stamp. Okay, so then the "Thanks for fixing my crown." I'm going to Stamp that right in the center here. Whoops. And then the crown, ink that up. Okay, and then I'm going to center that on my cardstock like so. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in, now I put these in containers. This is the new Wow embossing. This is part of the metallic embossing powders that Stampin' Up! Now sells. And I want to say that I really do love how everything embosses with this powder. There's a nice dimension to it once it's been heated up. Okay, so for the greeting, I'm going to use the gold. Okay, I like to put a couple of coats onto it. Okay, so now let's close up the gold. We're done with that. And then I'm going to bring in the silver for the crown. Do one more coat on this side. Okay, let me close this up, as we definitely don't want no mishaps with the embossing powder. Okay, and then I have this, what is this thing called? It's a lint roller, but it's, what I like about this one, I can take this off, rinse it off, and it'll be good as new, as opposed to buying the ones that you have to keep buying the refills for. Okay, so I'm going to, I thought I had it in here. Yes, I do. So I do see a couple little flecks of the powder. So I'm going to use the brush. This is part of the Embossing Editions kit that we have in our catalog. You get a tray, the set of tweezers, and this brush. Oh, and the embossing buddy. Whoops. Don't want to take the powder off. Okay. And another way you can get loose powders off as well, on your take your pick tool, the putty end, you can use that to kind of pick up any that are, let's say we're close to the image. You can tap this on it and it'll pick up that powder as well. So there's a little tip on that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in my heat tool. I am going to heat set these. And then with this, the thanks for fixing my crown, I'm going to be using this circle die that is out of the Stylish Shapes dies. These are currently still available, so I'm going to die cut it with this one. And then, let's see, what else are we doing? Oh, and then we're going to emboss this as well. So I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces. I really like the dimension that you get from these embossing powders, and I really do like how they're really, really shiny. So awesome new embossing powder. So I'm going to take my seal and I'm going to adhere my embossed piece here onto my card base. Okay, I added a little bit extra because it is embossed and it does warp the cardstock a little bit. Okay, so then I'm going to center this onto my card front like so. And then for this bedazzled piece, I'm going to add some adhesive to this. Okay, and then I'm going to add this piece out, say about here. So it's going to go from top to bottom edge. Okay, we do need to have some bedazzle on our card, right? Okay. Then for the piece that has the crown on it, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. And because of heat embossing, it has warped this cardstock a bit. So I'm going to add a few extra dimensionals onto it. Okay. Now let's remove these paper backings. Okay. And I'm going to take this and it's going to go more up to the top, but it's going to be centered within that bubble bath piece. Down just a little bit more. Okay. And then for the greeting, I'm going to add adhesive on the back. Well, obviously, but I'm going to put the adhesive up towards the top, and then on the bottom, I'm going to add 2 dimensionals. And the reason for this is because since this is already popped up, this is going to overlap just a little bit. So I don't want to add any extra dimension on the top here since it's already going to be lifted up. So I'm going to add some of this to the top. And then 2 more dimensionals down here. Okay, and then I'll bring this in. And I'm going to place this right here. Okay, and then we're really going to jewel this all up. Now I'm not using any Wink of Stella on this. Instead, I'm adding the rhinestones. So I'm going to start off and use, let's see, I'm going to take 2 of the larger ones and we're going to kind of just put them over the stamped and embossed rhinestones on here. And then let's see, we're going to add kind of like one of our mediums. There, and let's see, I'm going to add one here. And then I'm going to bring in like our small ones, our little tiny ones, and I'm going to add those to the top. Now when you look at the image, there's a lot of like rhinestone images on here. I am not going to, I mean, you are more than welcome to cover every one of them up if you like, but to me it's like, okay, I already got 10 rhinestones on this, so I think that's good enough. So there is our second card. Lots of bedazzling on there, very shiny and crystally. And so let me bring in the first card that we made. So these cards are very simple, easy duplicatable cards. They'd be perfect for a little girl's birthday. So here's our first one, and then here's our second. So if you like the projects that I made today for our Throwback Thursday using the Friendship Royalty stamp set, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you, and wow, I can't talk. I apologize. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It has been helping me tremendously with the likes and the comments and the sharing and even subscribing. It's helped me get my videos out there. YouTube has been putting, because there's a lot of activity going on my page, that my videos do go out there in people's feeds that are interested in, the card making videos and all that. So it's been like, it's had tremendous growth as of late. So thank you for all of you that have done all of those things. And so every Thursday I come on and I will do a video featuring retired products. So I'm using my retired stash. And then tomorrow for Friday, I will be doing my Friday Night Live. And for that one, I'll be featuring the Thoughtful Wishes suite of product. And I hope that you'll be able to join me. I will go live here on this channel at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So until next time, everyone, have a blessed one. Bye-bye.